Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And talk we will. Oh, man. I'm going to start with this story I have up here on the screen and play this clip of Laura Ingraham, who I think was so inappropriate, rude, and nasty with President Trump. I don't know what got under her skin, but I didn't care for it. So we're going to start with that, and then we've got a lot more to cover too, and your calls. All right, we've got about 10 seconds. Stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio, and there's a lot to cover. I cannot believe it is Thursday already, a week from Sunday. We leave on our listener cruise. I'm really looking forward to that and spending a week with our fine, upstanding listeners. And today we're going to break down a lot of stories, but I want to start with this Laura Ingraham interview with President Trump. And then after that, I'm going to get into something that I was very, very wrong about that I'm going to share too coming up in this hour. So stay tuned. But first, I want to start with Laura Ingraham. The Laura Ingraham interview with President Trump, it was nice to see the tour of the Oval Office. But I seemed to think that she was very rude, very nasty, and very inappropriate. And I'm not the only one. When I first saw it, I thought, well, maybe this is just me. And then I see a lot of other people talking about it. Here's an article, and I'm going to play you a clip to illustrate what I'm talking about, and then ask you if you think Laura Ingraham was out of line. But this is from Trending Politics. Here's the headline: "Not a good look. Beloved Fox host under fire for combative Trump interview." Longtime Fox News anchor Laura Ingraham is taking friendly fire after a combative interview with President Donald Trump, where she needled him for referring to Canada as America's 51st state and stoking global resentment with an ongoing trade war. And I'll play you the audio in a moment. But I was watching Fox a couple of days ago, and it was the beginning of the week, so it was either Monday or Tuesday. I want to say that it was Monday, and I had it on for quite a while. And they had a bunch of guests on that I'd never seen before, I'd never heard of before, and they were radio hosts, they were this, they were that. I'm like, who are these people? I never heard of them. And as they start talking, you find out they're liberals, and that's why I've never heard of them before. And there seems to be some fascination with filling their airwaves with liberals lately, and people that are consumers of cable news really don't care what liberals have to say. We're not interested in what they have to think. Look at the ratings over on MSNBC and CNN. But let me play this for you. This is Laura Ingraham talking to President Trump about Canada. And what I want to hear from you is, am I being too hard on Laura Ingraham, or was she inappropriate, rude, nasty, and out of control during this interview? I'm going to play you the whole clip. And she interrupts the president. She is condescending to the president. But you be the judge. Listen.
You're tougher with Canada than you are with some of our biggest adversaries.
Only because it's meant to be our 51st state. And
okay, but
but listen to this for a second.
We need their territory. They have territorial advantage. We're not going to let them get close to China.
Look,
right?
I deal with every country, indirectly or directly. One of the nastiest countries to deal with is Canada. The people that, now this was Trudeau, the people that good old Justin, I call him Governor Trudeau, his people were nasty, and they weren't telling the truth. They never told the truth. You know that, they'd say, well, we don't charge. Well, they do. They charge tremendous. And if you look at dairy products, what they've done to our farmers, I'd go up to Iowa, I'd go up to different places, Nebraska, And they would always complain about Canada, how they get ripped off. Do you know that Canada has a 250% tariff? 250, nobody knows that. They charge us numbers that are crazy.
But
we have a very big deficit with Canada. And there's no reason, much more. We have much more. Just so you understand, we subsidize Canada. And I like Canada. I love Canada. I love Wayne
now
Gretzky.
The Liberal guys,
I love his wife.
The Liberal Party is going to win now in the next election, most likely. And they were down and out. Isn't that going to make them more hostile to us and possibly
I'd rather deal with a liberal than a
for China, closer to Canada, and that would really put us in a bind.
The conservative that's running.
Okay. She said, I don't think so, under her breath, interrupting. Listening to, now, maybe this is just my ears. Obviously, I'm biased. I love President Trump. But don't all Americans? She was condescending. She was interrupting. She had her nose up in the air as if she knows better. And she was inappropriate and rude to the President of the United States. In fact, listening to Laura Ingram talking to Donald Trump there, the condescending tone, I don't think so, with the deficit between us and Canada, it reminded me of that lunatic governor from Maine at the White House a couple of weeks ago. So I want to ask you all, do you think Laura Ingram was inappropriate? Do you think that she was rude? And, or not, maybe you don't. Our number is 1-888-465-2631. 1-888-465-2631. And, the question about this, it's not just that. There's a second question. Why was she so out of control? Why was she so rude? Why was she, Laura Ingram, so condescending? Is it the new leadership over at Fox? Does she feel she has to do this to sound credible? Or does she have her never-Trumper Republican establishment friends whispering in her ear? Or was that a proper way to conduct an interview? I want to really hear your thoughts on this, because I was really turned off by her. Now, she's got some out-of-control temper tantrums from time to time, but that one was pretty rough. So I want to hear your thoughts on that. Our number 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. Now, the second thing I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to play some audio after the first break with this, I was very wrong about something. There is this young 20-something girl who's she's a co-host / reporter / journalist who works with the great Steve Bannon, Natalie Winters. And she was on Piers Morgan the other night with a panel of a bunch of winners, Scaramucci and Christopher Steele. She cleaned Christopher Steele's clock like I've not seen. She is amazing. And I only first heard of her a couple of months ago. She works for Steve Bannon's War Room, and she got a White House press pass, and she was given a hard time for the way that she dresses. Her name's Natalie Winters, and she's like 24 or so, and she's pretty. And she wears professional clothes like dresses and everything, but they're skin tight, almost spray painted on in their looks. And she's got a good body and everything, and she's pretty. And I saw all these stories online of her griping about people giving her a hard time for how she dresses. And then yesterday on X, I saw this exchange where she took Christopher Steele to the woodshed. She is amazing. She is, when it comes to television conservative debaters, she's one of the best I've ever seen. Christopher, I'm going to play you the audio when we get back. So she's got beauty and brains, her and Caroline Leavitt, I guess, who's also very brilliant beyond her years. When you hear her talk to Christopher Steele, it's going to blow your mind. Now, Christopher Steele, of course, is that fraud from British intelligence that put together that fake Russian dossier for the Clinton campaign, right? He gave the dossier to John McCain. John McCain gave it to Comey. And the next thing you know, there's a Mueller investigation with that dossier, which I will explain as we go on. And what she did with Christopher Steele was amazing. And the women over on Fox, they don't want her around because she's not only good looking, she's hot, she's good. I mean, she is really, really good. In fact, so far as female conservatives on television in these debate situations, she's the best out there right now. And so she's got everything going for her. And the women at Fox, they do not want her on that outnumbered couch because they know she's the real deal. But when we get back, I'm going to share this with you with her exchange with Christopher Steele and a whole bunch more. But I do want to hear your thoughts on Laura Ingraham as well. My name's Brian. It's Thursday already, March 20th, 2025. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back. Now, I want to ask you guys a question. I'm going to ask this a couple times during the break because this is only for the online audience, okay? I have an opportunity, and I'm going to ask you what your thoughts are on this. I have an opportunity. Somebody has approached me. I'm not going to tell you who. It's a sponsorship opportunity to do a fourth hour between 9 and 10. Now, this would not start until I got back from the cruise, and the way that would work if I were to do it is when the radio show ends at 9, I would continue for another hour here on YouTube, taking your calls, talking about the issues. Would you guys want to tune in for that? And it's a sponsorship opportunity, and I'm not going to tell you who, but I was approached and contacted about it earlier this week, and I've been thinking about it. I haven't given a yes to it or not, but so the radio show would end. I would just take a pause to let them cut out, and then I would just continue. So you'd still be, and I of course have the phone, so you'd be able to call me. And of course, it would only be the days that I'm in the studio here. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Okay. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate it. And there wouldn't be, because I have so many commercial breaks on the radio, it wouldn't be like that. It would just be one, maybe two sponsors for the whole hour. And I would just do live commercials for them once or twice during that hour. All right. But it would not start until after the cruise, and certainly not the first day after the cruise because I'll still be recovering. But I would definitely start that in April. Okay. So it'd be the fourth hour. Well, I appreciate that. Okay, that sounds good. All right, we'll be back in a little about 90 seconds. We'll be back live on the air. I'm going to play the exchange with Natalie Winters and Christopher Steele, and it blew my mind. Blew my mind. She reprimanded him and took him to the woodshed like no one has done, and to his face. And he sat there like an idiot because he knew she was right. And I was pretty impressed. I don't think there was anything wrong with me thinking this. I think a lot of people thought this. All I saw were stories of her in these dresses saying, oh, they didn't want me in the press briefing room dressed like this. And I thought she was just kind of like some bimbo, who was trying to use her body to get attention as clickbait. But she is so good, as you will hear. And this is the first time I've heard her more than a couple of words. Yeah, they do not want her on Outnumbered. They don't want her on Outnumbered. Oh no, women are very catty. There's no getting around it. They're very catty.
Well, I know Christopher Steele probably wanted to go down in history.
Now, I don't know if you guys could tell me. I know that's Scaramucci. This is Christopher Steele. Who's this guy in the top right? He's familiar. I can't remember his name. And this guy in the middle. I don't know who he is either. All right, stand by. We're coming back. Welcome back, everyone. I am Brian Craig, and this is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. All right, so I want to get back to this. Christopher Steele of the fake Trump dossier had his clock cleaned by a 24-year-old who has the looks and body of Pamela Anderson during the Baywatch days. And I was blown away by this. And this is a woodshedding event that should have happened years ago with Christopher Steele. But for those that aren't familiar with Christopher Steele, let me do a recap of it for those that don't know him and what he did and who he is. And then I'm going to play the audio of this 24-year-old Baywatch babe taking him to the woodshed. And then if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get to some calls in just a bit. Christopher Steele is a former member of British intelligence, which means he still is with British intelligence. They're like the CIA. And he is the one, he was hired by Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2015 to find dirt on Trump. And I remember when President Trump first announced, and they started looking for things, I was shocked that they couldn't find any dirt on him. And this Playboy image that he had was just an image for the brand. Donald Trump is a squeaky clean Marine. And they weren't able to find any dirt on this guy. So what Christopher Steele did, even when they were spying on Trump Tower, so what Christopher Steele did was just make up something and called it intelligence and put together a dossier and gave it to the Clintons. And what this dossier is the one where they started that he was a tool for Vladimir Putin. The dossier alleged that Donald Trump was a Russian asset and that there was a blackmail video of Donald Trump that Putin had, and he would use this to control him. Remember, they said Kennedy would be controlled by the Pope. They were saying he was controlled by Putin because of this blackmail video. And this was so absurd. What the Christopher Steele dossier said, the Russian dossier said, people don't talk about it much. They just mention the dossier because it's so absurd. Now, this is what Christopher Steele's dossier said. Okay? It said this, that President Trump was visiting Moscow for the Miss Universe pageant. Remember, he used to own Miss Universe. And he hated Obama a lot. Hated Obama. Remember, Trump was out there with Sheriff Joe for the birth certificate and all that. So so President Trump, when he was just a private citizen in Moscow for the Miss Universe pageant, rented the same hotel room that Obama slept in when he was visiting Moscow, and that President Trump hired 2 Russian prostitutes who he had naked on the bed, doing things to each other and urinating on the bed while he was in the corner pleasuring himself. And Putin had video, 4K video, and perfect audio of this as blackmail material, making him a Russian asset. I know, it sounds ridiculous. Christopher Steele just made that up. He gave it to Hillary Clinton's campaign, and then Christopher Steele met John McCain. That's right, the John McCain, who was a sitting United States senator at the time. He met John McCain in a park somewhere in D.C. because he had this. This had to get out. We were going to have a president who's a Russian asset. We got to get this out. We got to stop this. So he gave this ridiculous, absurd dossier to Senator John McCain. John McCain gave it to Comey. And then when President Trump was president-elect, Comey went to Trump Tower, threw the dossier on President Trump's desk at Trump Tower and said, this can either disappear or we can investigate it. Wink, wink. And this is when Comey they were trying to use this as blackmail material to get Trump off the Trump train and on the deep state train. And Trump said, do what you want. And then he went on the fire Comey. And that led to the Mueller investigation. So whenever you hear about Trump and Russia and being a Putin puppet or any variation of that, it's all based on that absurd dossier. I know, isn't that nuts? I mean, it's not even it doesn't even pass that. There's that old thing, Steve Kane talks about this a lot. It doesn't even pass the smile test. It's so absurd, isn't it? And this thing about the urination on the bed, this is a big thing with Russians. I'm a student of history, and I've read a lot of World War II history, and I've read a lot when I was in school. I was in college. Read a lot of books and articles that were written in Eastern Europe, in the Soviet bloc, and in the Soviet Union, involving interrogations of high-level Nazis that were around Hitler. And many times in these interrogations, there was talk of Hitler hiring, or I guess he wouldn't hire, they would just come over, or having prostitutes come over and do things involving urination. And if you read, there was a book that came out many years ago, which was just a transcript of KGB and Red Army interrogation of Nazi officers. And there's a lot of talk about urination. And anytime you hear urination, you know it's Russian propaganda, okay? And that they just make up. They are obsessed. I don't know why, but Russians, they like to humiliate people or discredit people by saying they have a urination fetish. And I don't know what that, but anytime you hear that involving, anyone, it's some misinformation coming out of Russia. So the dossier is so absurd, it's laughable. No one would look at that and think it was anything other than absurdly ridiculous and file it where it belongs, in the circular file. Oh, but not Christopher Steele. Oh, no, he had to get it to Senator John McCain to get this to the director of the FBI because Donald Trump's a Russian asset. I've got this dossier. We've got to stop this. Now, British intelligence, of which Christopher Steele is a member of, they're always undermining. They have not gotten over losing the colonies in the American Revolution. Don't you understand? So they're always trying to undo America, whether it's lying about WMDs in Iraq, trying to keep this endless war going in Ukraine, stopping Trump with this fake dossier. The British intelligence is a very, very disruptive organization whose one of their many missions is to get even with the United States for leaving the empire. Because this was we were the first domino to fall, and they got a little tiny island now that is a caliphcy, okay? So that's that. All right, now I'm looking at the clock. I got to take a break. So after the bottom of the hour break, I'm going to play this audio of Steve Bannon's young Baywatch babe, Natalie Winters, take Christopher Steele to the woodshed like he should have been done like 9 years ago by everybody in the media when this absurd dossier came out. And I know I had to do a little bit of a review on the dossier because so few people are familiar with it. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. Hang in there. So I got a lot of positives, a lot of yeses for the fourth hour. Okay. So I will reach out to the person that reached out to me wanting to sponsor the fourth hour, and it would be it would not. I wouldn't have the commercial breaks as often. I would have one or two sponsors for the fourth hour, and I would do live spots a couple of times during the hour, and you'd still be able to call in. So I'm going to start that sometime in April after the cruise. I may need a week to get back and get back in my groove, and because I'll have a lot on my plate when I get back from the cruise. I'm gone for a week. So we'll start that in April. That's awesome. So I appreciate your guys' support. And you got to support the sponsors of that fourth hour as well. So the way it'll work is when the radio show ends at 9, I'll just keep going. I'll have to take a pause to give them a moment to cut out, and then I'll keep going. And it'll be the days when I'm in this studio. Sometimes I have to go to the radio station, so when I go to the radio station, it would just be 3 hours. Like I got to go to the radio station a couple times next week, so on those days it would just be 3. But the days that I'm here, we'll go for the extra hour. Sounds good. I appreciate your support, guys. I really do. It means a lot to me. It really does. Like the Today Show fourth hour, but better. Yes. That's right, but better. That's right. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to play the audio before I go to any calls because I got to get to it. Okay. No, they're trying to do us in, the British. There's no doubt, you know. Oh, it's the golden age of America, man. The golden age of America. We'll be back in about 1 minute. Yeah, I do want to hear your thoughts on Laura Ingraham, guys. Call me on, because I think she was out of control. I really do. I think she was very rude, you know, and the condescending is what I don't like. People that are condescending. That is, I think it's one of the worst, most disrespectful things people can do is the condescension. I do not like that at all, especially to the president. 30 seconds, we'll be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Okay, so let me get to this. I had to do that background on the Christopher Steele dossier because the media never tell you what was in it, because they know if they tell you, you'll laugh and say, who would believe something so stupid? So just to do a quick recap on what I'm playing here, there's this young girl. She's 24. Her name's Natalie Winters, and she works for Steve Bannon. I don't know much about her. I've seen her on social media in the last couple of months, and the only thing I've seen are posts of her online. There's selfies of herself saying, you know, they don't like me in the White House press briefing room. I'm too hot. And she's young and good looking. She wears these tight skirts and everything. And I thought she was just some bimbo who was trying to use sex appeal to go viral and be someone. I'd not really heard her talk. So she was part of a panel on Piers Morgan's show. Scaramucci was there, a couple of guys. I forgot the one guy's name, but then she's there with Christopher Steele of the dossier. And she took Christopher Steele to the woodshed, and I want to play it for you. This is amazing. He has never been talked to like this before. And he just sat there and took it. Because what he couldn't challenge anything she was saying.
Well, I know Christopher Steele probably wanted to go down in history as someone that colluded with the Clinton campaign to take down President Donald J. Trump, but I really think that you represent probably the ultimate grifter in the American political space. For you to even come on here, obviously you're trying to sabotage what President Trump is doing when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, but to sit here, what is it, nearly a decade after you tried to smear President Trump as a Russian asset, to then say, well, I think he's a Russian asset, but even though I'm really good at my job and create all these intelligence reports, it's just sort of a feeling that I have. I'm sorry, what stones do you even have left to turn over to try to corroborate your claim that President Trump is a Russian asset? You what?
Wow. This is something. Now you got to keep in mind, when Christopher Steele released his made-up dossier, she was like 13 or 14 years old. And she's just, oof. And the look on Christopher Steele's face was like, why am I here? What is Piers Morgan doing to me? I bet you he got on the phone with Piers Morgan after this.
You even have left to turn over to try to corroborate your claim that President Trump is a Russian asset. You what? Weaponized FISA courts, surveillance, warrants, not just domestic spy agencies, international spy agencies too, the entire DNC apparatus, a bunch of political operatives and registered foreign agents here in the United States. The American people would really appreciate it if you would stop injecting your efforts to curtail and totally tank the America First movement by smearing anyone who doesn't want to get involved in forever wars or continue the needless and ceaseless dying of in Ukraine and in Russia, just so you can sit there from your nice perch and just continue to defend the globalist world order by continuing to fan the flames of conflict in Russia and Ukraine. And
wow. I mean, this is, and he doesn't know what to say. He's even Piers Morgan is speechless. I think they're in shock. That they probably thought she was a bimbo too. And wouldn't you like to see her on Fox? Oh my goodness. They do not want her. Let me tell you, Harris Faulkner and Emily Campagno and all McEnany, they don't want her anywhere near that outnumbered couch. She's going to make them all look like just boring. And, the thing about this is everything she's saying is 100% true.
You know what? The same people that you ally yourself with here in the United States, you think you're so good at gathering intelligence. Last time I checked, it was the 51 intel agency officers, spies, who said that the Hunter Biden hard drive, which I've reported on firsthand, it's legitimate. You want to talk about president's sons who are involved in businesses with foreign countries? Well, I'd like to introduce you to Hunter Biden, right? When those 51 people that I'm sure that you know all too well, you were probably likely involved with the drafting of that letter, said that was Russian disinformation. Well, it turned out that was true, and shame on you for the last decade trying to inject the idea that smearing President Trump as a Russian agent or a Russian asset is somehow going to tank the MAGA movement. It's about putting America first, and the fact that you can still sit here and you have no actual evidence beside one random Russian meeting, and we need to just continue to get more evidence. You're a complete political hack and grifter.
You're a complete political hack and grifter. You got to understand, Christopher Steele is used to people standing to attention when he walks in the room and telling him how brilliant he is and how important his work is. Never been talked to like this, ever. Especially by a girl who looks like she works at Hooters, okay? And when he did all of this with this fake dossier, they thought Hillary was going to win, so he thought it would have been mission accomplished.
And I wish the American political scene didn't have your voice in it.
All right, well, Christopher Steele, you're about to leave us because you're only here for this part of the panel, but your response...
your suffering's about to end, Christopher Steele, so now let's listen to his response.
Finally to that.
My response is that I'm a professional intelligence officer and an expert on that part of the world. Yeah. I'm not a politician.
Was the Hunter Biden hard drive Russian disinformation then, if you're such an expert?
Let him finish.
Oh, here comes one of the liberal jerks in the squares, another one of the talking heads coming in to get his back.
Let him finish. So I've been a loyal and close ally of the United States for probably most of the last 40 years. I've worked extremely closely with officials working for administrations,
you can tell he's
both
off.
Republican and Democrat. I have a very strong US client base.
I bet he does.
I've worked and produced information over many years, none of whom have ever made any such allegation against me. And it's palpable nonsense to claim that I'm in hoc with politicians.
I'm so glad the Clinton campaign didn't say that about you.
Well, I never worked for the Clinton campaign.
Oh, my goodness. See, now we never worked for the Clinton campaign.
Never had any contact with the Clinton campaign. That's the reality of it.
Oh, yeah.
You're a subcontractor.
I think Fusion GPS would beg to
I
differ.
produced a report for a partner firm in Washington, and the results of that report made me, as an ally of the United States, as I would have expected an American counterpart to do, to report back in what I had found to the contacts I had in the FBI at the time.
Okay.
That was the right thing to do, and I'm proud that I did.
Well, was the
we're going to leave it there. No, I think everyone's had their say about
I'd love his
Steele.
expert opinion.
Let's leave it there.
Yeah, let's leave it there. Pierce is getting nervous. He doesn't want MI6 on him. You know, the British intelligence is like the CIA. You never leave it. So this was beautiful. And I'm sure the president's seen that. I mean, that was beautiful. He should have been talked this way 9 years ago, 10 years ago, when this garbage first came out. And this has gone viral online. And I'm so glad it did, because not everyone knows about this. Okay, now, let me give out the number. I want to hear your thoughts on this and Laura Ingraham. I'll probably play the Laura Ingraham clip again after the break, because I did it right at the top, and we've been into this for a while, because I do want to hear people's thoughts on that. Our number, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing? My name is Michael from Valley Stream.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Yes, just wanted to talk about Trump.
Yeah, speak up a little bit, Michael. Speak up.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. So, I know the JFK files came out a couple of days ago.
Yep.
Was there any big stuff that dropped? Because I didn't read the whole thing. There's 800,000 files.
There's 1,000 files and over 80,000 pages. Yeah, but we're not. There's a lot, but we're talking. It's not open phones today, but you can call in about that tomorrow. All right, so let me answer some of these other calls on the line. All right, let's go. You're on the air. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Name's Linda.
Yeah, Linda.
Hi.
Hey.
I wanted to ask, how's Steve doing? I miss him, and he was such a great mentor for you.
No, Steve's doing well. He's just taking a little time off for some family things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
don't worry. And he's going to be on the cruise, too. So, yeah, he's going to be on the cruise and everything.
Okay, I hope we hear from him soon.
Yeah, me too. I hope he's here today. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, I'll probably be at work by that time, but okay, I'm glad. All right.
All right, that's it? Okay, I appreciate it. Just checking in on Steve. That's fine to do. That's good. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Montana Mark.
Hey, Mark.
I agree with you because she was very rude, just interrupting.
Are you talking about Laura Ingraham?
Finish. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in that environment, you would be expected to be very professional. Because listening to
Laura Ingraham was she was not just rude. She was condescending to President Trump, corrected him, was interrupting him. Why do you think she was so out of control?
I think she thinks she's so important and full of herself that she can do anything.
Yeah.
But listening to the interview is kind of like Saturday mornings. I hang out with 5 or 6 friends and everybody's talking back and forth. But in that situation, you should be very professional, respectful, and polite, and she wasn't.
Well, what I picked up from that, because I listen with a different ear, because I'm a broadcaster too. she wasn't talking to the audience, and she wasn't talking to the president. She's got some people in her circle whispering in her ears, and she was doing that for somebody else. I don't know who, but she was doing that for someone else. Whether it was her bosses at Fox, I don't know. But she came in there pretty disrespectful. I appreciate the call, Mark. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our last break of the first hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. I showed the tag because someone was in the chat room questioning where the hat was made. So I thought I would show them. When we come back, we're going to talk about My Pillow. If you're on hold, hang in there. Yeah, that was the condescending attitude she had. I do not like condescension at all. It is a very bad conflict to have. A very bad personality trait. That's a personality trait. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. All right, make sure you subscribe, and if you're already sub, please like and share, guys. Okay. We'll be back on the air in 2 minutes. Yeah, I was pretty impressed with her. Christopher Steele's a terrible person. Terrible person. Just over a minute, we'll be back. Well, she just didn't yell at him. I mean, she really exposed him, right? And he knew he had gotten whooped. You could see it in his face. And the other guys, I mean, that was a 6-member panel, and the other 5 just sat there, including Pierce Morgan. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. And I want to tell you guys about the incredible spring mega sale going on right now at MyPillow.com. You know, all of the Mike Lindell sheets are $40 off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, on all sizes. Both the 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets and the Percow Sheets, $40 off. Huge deals on the towels, the My Cross that Mike Lindell wears. Huge deals site-wide. And the My Pillow sheets, $40 off. All sets, all sizes, both Giza and the Percow. I have both of these. On my marital bed, we have the 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets. And on our guest bed, we got the Percow sheets. And I got the Percow sheets so I could check them out, sleep on them, and talk to you all about it. They are spectacular, too. There's a whole bunch of new colors as well with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, at mypillow.com. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, what we got to understand about Natalie Winters is her early on when she was early on. She was still in college and she was still working with Bannon, and she was doing a bunch of research on the virus. You know, and that's where she cut her teeth at. And look, when you got the average age of that press corps, the women in that press corps is about 36, 37 years old. That's the average age. Maggie Haberman is 51. You know, so when they don't like the fact that this lady is as smart as a whip, and they think that she should be at Hooters.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, you're right, Mike. She does look like a Hooters girl, but she's a Hooters girl with brains. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
From Maine.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
I agree with you about Laura Ingraham. There was someone in her ear, and Fox was doing that, and I don't understand why she agreed to it, because if she has a conservative base for her show, and I've never really cared for her, she had a dumb look on her face all the time when she went to break, and now I can't stand her because that was intolerable.
Well, you know, back in, after the last election, she told Trump to retire. It's over for him. You know, you got to understand. Laura Ingraham is part of the Republican establishment. I'm not saying she's not good sometimes, but she goes back to the Reagan days, and she's part of that permanent Washington class. So that's where. So and she's looking at this. Well, I'm going to be here after Trump's no longer in Washington. And you're seeing a lot of these people that are throwing their allegiance, trying to, like her, back to their friends in the establishment, and they need to be called out.
And I think she's going to lose. I think Fox, and Mickey Hastings had a good point about Fox has been slowly changing, and I think they're trying to get more Democrats and not caring about the conservative people that listen. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, a lot of times. Sometimes they tell themselves, "We got the conservatives, so let's try to reach out to and bring the liberals," and they don't understand. They don't understand. This. Yeah, go ahead.
And Fox has destroyed themselves when they got rid of Tucker. I stopped listening altogether. I don't even listen to him anymore. And I've been listening to Natalie Winters when she was in college first coming on, and she has grown very fast. She's very intelligent and articulate, and she doesn't hold back, and I think that's why Bannon picked her. She's feisty. I like that. I had never really heard of her. I'd seen her once or twice with Bannon. I didn't pay any attention. And then when I saw her take these selfies in the miniskirts and the sprayed-on sweaters at the White House, I'm like, come on, And I was so wrong about her. I saw this. She is sharp. She's really, really good. And if you notice, the cool young people are the MAGA people, right? That's right.
Yeah, I mean
that was my next point, Brian. She brings in a lot of young people that have joining the Trump train, the MAGA movement. There's a whole new group of people coming up, and they have been totally woken up to what's been going on. And she, like Charlie Kirk, and when Candace Owens was good, they brought out a lot of college-age people and joined the MAGA movement, and I think she's going to continue that.
Well, think about it. She was like 12, 13 years old or so when Trump came down the escalator. So so we've got this whole new generation of people that are young. When I was young, okay, when I was like in high school and middle school, there were some young Republicans. They were all dorks, okay? They wore khaki pants, penny loafers, and blue blazers, and they were like 15. They were dorks, like the chess club, And now you see the young conservatives.
They're the cool, hot people. And that's a real testament to Trump. And there's a whole generation like her that have grown up knowing nothing but this lawfare going on in their country, which is continuing with these federal judges that are trying to become a star chamber presidency against Trump, and they don't like it.
And I believe Trump's going to transform the colleges. You're going to see tens of thousands of college students jump in that liberal bandwagon when they see the economy turn around and see what Trump's doing. He's doing exactly what he told us he would do.
Yeah.
And what president before has ever done that, Brian?
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. The way I compared it, Jeff, the way Laura Ingraham talked to President Trump reminded me of your governor, the governor of Maine, the way she talked to Trump.
Yes. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't stand listening to those people. I listen to them, but they do the same thing every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's always attack Trump, not solve the problems.
Mm-hmm.
They're not problem solvers. Trump's a problem solver.
Yeah.
He takes on fights and they're just not used to that. He doesn't care what they think. And I love Trump for that.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't care what you think about him personally.
All right,
He's
Jeff.
He's going to do the job. Have a good day, Brian.
You too. I appreciate the call. Jeff from Maine. His calls are always good. Now, we're coming close to the top. I played this right at the top, but I want to play it again. This is the clip we're talking about, and this is Laura Ingraham interviewing the president, and they're talking about Canada. And you'll hear as this goes on, she interrupts, she's condescending. It's just rude and inappropriate with the president.
You're tougher with Canada than you are with some of our biggest adversaries.
Only
Why?
because it's meant to be our 51st State.
And
but listen to this for a second.
We need their territory. They have territorial advantage. We're not going to let them get close to China.
Look,
right?
I deal with every country, indirectly or directly. One of the nastiest countries to deal with is Canada. The people now this was Trudeau, the people that good old Justin, I call him Governor Trudeau, his people were nasty. And they weren't telling the truth. They never told the truth. They'd say, well, we don't charge. Well, they do. They charge tremendous. And if you look at dairy products, what they've done to our farmers, I'd go up to Iowa, I'd go up to different places, Nebraska, and they would always complain about Canada, how they get ripped off. Do you know that Canada has a 250% tariff? 250, nobody knows that. They charge us numbers that are crazy. We have a very big deficit with Canada, and there's no reason, much more, we have much more.
I don't think so.
Just so you hear that, okay, now that's the condescending. She says, I don't think so, under her breath. Like she's talking. This is, what this reminds me of? Alec Baldwin's psycho wife telling him, when I'm speaking, you're not talking. Remember that on the red carpet the other day? She's got that kind of attitude, Laura Ingraham.
There's no reason, much more. We have much more. Just so you understand, we subsidize Canada. And I like Canada. I love Canada. I love Wayne
now
Gretzky.
The Liberal guy,
I love his wife.
The Liberal Party is going to win now in the next election, most likely. And they were down and out. Isn't that going to make them more hostile to us and possibly
I'd rather
open the
deal
door
with a liberal than a
for
conservative.
China closer to Canada, and that would really put us in a bind.
The conservative that's running.
Okay, so your thoughts, do you think that Laura Ingraham was out of line, inappropriate, rude to the president? All right, let's take some more of these calls. I've lost track of the order in which they came in, guys. My apologies. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. All right. Once, twice. All right, you missed out. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Oh, boy, we're starting off good. Once, twice. All right, you missed out. Let me try this one. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? We're getting are we getting the liberal response? I'll try it one more time. You're on the air. Once, twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, you just made it.
Hey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I got you. IB, can you hear me okay?
Oh, hey, IB, I can hear you.
Hey, man. I'll start off with the Christopher Steele guy.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, has been. Okay, and because of one piece of document, has now killed how many people? We cannot count, right? One piece of document.
Yeah.
And put our country through hell and had everyone in this audience who is friends, family, over the debates through the years over Trump. Now, Laura Ingraham, what does she think she is? What is she, on equal footing, talking about global politics? Is not in her purview, as they like to use that word purview, to even engage with Trump, because she's not a diplomat. She's not a statesman.
That's
what
right.
are you talking about?
Exactly, IB. You're right. You're right on the money. I appreciate the call. All right, let's take one more call, then we'll break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. I'm calling from New York State.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, just wanted to give one word to Laura. She's possessed.
Possessed by what? Never Trumpers?
By
Lincoln Project?
Yeah. Yes, by the way she basically, in my opinion, humiliated herself.
She started out in Washington with Kellyanne Conway's weirdo husband, that Never Trumper.
Mm-hmm.
So she's part of that old club.
Okay. Well, either way it goes, I think she should be taken off the air, period.
Well, I don't want to take people off the air because I don't like what they're doing, but I would like to see President Trump not grant her any special one-on-one interviews and and beautiful tours of the Oval Office and all of that, which was really nice to see. She was so disrespectful there. I mean, I was really put off by her. It says a lot about her.
Well,
yeah.
Brian, I was very upset to hear her.
Well, I'm glad I'm not alone. The reason I shared this, because when I saw it, I thought I was alone here. Maybe I'm being too hard on Laura, but a lot of people seem to agree with me.
No, I was very upset. And I'm going off to work right now, but I absolutely am so thankful that you took my call. So
well, thank you for calling. I appreciate it. Take care. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to break for the top of the hour. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break. Now, guys, if you'd like to support the program, you can become a Patreon supporter. There's a link in the description of the video. And Patreon supporters, you get access to commercial-free editions to all of my podcasts. And, of course, my wife and I both post things there that we don't post anywhere else. If you become a Patreon member, there's a link in the description of the video. Okay, we'll be back in 2.5 minutes. And we have a nice community. You know, you can reach out to me and my wife directly, and we respond. And it's a closer-knit community. But there's a link in the description of the video. It'll take you right to it. Okay, we'll be back in 2 minutes. No, 1 minute. No, 2 minutes. I just got this one. 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, the fourth hour is definitely a go, guys. So I was approached by someone who wanted to know about sponsoring a fourth hour. So I did a little informal poll with you guys earlier, and I'll start it after the cruise. For sure. Okay, now hold on. I gotta queue up. Oh, yes. Okay, that's what I was going to do. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Hour number 2 has begun. If you're on hold, hang in there. And you're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far. Did you see the apologies they had to make on MSNBC? Oh, I love this. This is so awesome. The apologies to Tulsi. Oh, I love it. Listen.
Last night, The Last Word reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network in which she said Trump was good friends with the world leader. Now, we said that world leader was Vladimir Putin, but the full interview was subsequently released, and it showed that Gabbard was referring to Donald Trump and the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi.
Last night, we reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network, in which she said that Trump was good friends with a world leader. We said that world leader was Vladimir Putin, but the full interview shows that Gabbard was referring to Trump and Indian Prime Minister Modi.
So both of them said the same thing word for word. And Stephanie Rule, and I don't know too much about her other than she's a liberal jerk on MSNBC, but she's got the skin of like someone that smokes like 6 packs a day. You know how smoking has an impact on the skin and the voice? She I don't know that she's a smoker or not. I'm not saying she's a smoker, but she looks and sounds like one. And the other guy, that Velshi guy, he's Muslim. And I think that's relevant to point out with everything that's going on in the world today. And what they left out of this fake apology that they gave is they made it up. They made it up because they've created in their mind any connection to Russia, like Christopher Steele, is some type of negative. They knew what what she was talking about, and they just made it up to smear him, the president, to their small little audience. And that's why they're in trouble. Even the liberals, they've lost credibility even with the liberals on MSNBC. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Rob Wilkerson from Pennsylvania.
Okay, you sure, Rob? Are you in the car? You got to speak up, Rob.
Okay, yep. So I'm calling from Pennsylvania, and I listen to your show about every day. And thank you for taking my call. But man, you really irritate me, and you know how you have double standards and how you're a hypocrite. You talked about Biden and how the media always agreed with him, did this and that, and now you talk about a real TV news lady, Laura Ingram, how she's correcting him whenever he makes mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Well, first off, he didn't make mistakes.
I mean, you got to understand, he's how old and he has signs of dementia. So
Biden? Yeah, Joe Biden does. Yeah, of course Joe Biden has signs of dementia.
Well, so does Trump. I mean,
give me an example of the last time he showed that he has dementia.
How he stutters and he
stutters. Mel Tillis used to stutter. Remember Mel Tillis? He stuttered. The stuttering, by the way, that was Biden who said he stuttered. They said Biden was it. I asked you about President Trump. When is the last time he was in front of us on television where he displayed dementia symptoms?
Just
you sound like you've got dementia. Have you forgotten?
No, I don't have dementia.
Well, then tell me the last time that he showed dementia, President Trump. You say he's got dementia. He's on TV every day. When's the last time?
I think last time is whenever he did his State of the Union.
What did he do? What did he do during the State of the Union that showed that he had dementia?
Well, there's times where he's talking about different countries and different things, but he calls it out as the wrong country. And
oh, you mean a slip of the tongue is not a dementia? I have slips of the tongue all the time. That's not a dementia incident.
Okay.
Dementia. I'll give you an example. Joe Biden, the Secret Service drop him off in front of the White House. He couldn't find the door, and he walks across the lawn, goes to the side of the White House looking for the door. That's dementia. Don't know where you are.
I agree with you.
Why do you not like President Trump? Why do you not like President Trump?
I love President Trump. I do.
But you think he has dementia?
I think he has little signs of it. I mean, everybody.
But you can't give us any examples.
There's just so many little examples.
Well, then you should be able to. There's little. Okay, so give us. You say he misspoke about the name of a country. Can you tell us what he said and what the accurate name was of that country?
Well, I mean, he misspeaks about Canada all the time.
As an example, give me an example of him misspeaking about Canada that shows he has dementia.
He thinks that it's a 51st state.
No, that's called ridicule. He's ridiculing Canada and pointing out that they get more help from the United States than one of our 50 states. They should be the 51st state. That's not a dementia sign. That's just ridicule.
Well, they had to change the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America.
That's not true. It is the Gulf of America. In fact, when the SpaceX capsule landed in the Gulf of America, they called it the Gulf of America. Go to your iMaps or your Google Maps. It says Gulf of America. But we're waiting for dementia. You're talking about differences of opinion. That's not dementia.
Okay. All right. Well, I think he's doing a great job.
Okay. Now you're going to walk everything back. Now he's walking everything back. Oh, my goodness. Talking to liberals with talking points, I often say it's like talking to a telemarketer. They call you with a script and you get them off the script. They don't know where to go. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, okay. All right. That person surrendered. All right. Oh, my goodness. It's interesting because most people that are liberals, and I've seen this long before Trump, liberals have always been people that have very little to say other than these talking points, okay? And when I first started doing this, the big talking points were the Republicans are giving corporate welfare and the Republicans are the party of Strom Thurmond. Those were two big ones. And I remember I would ask a caller, we're the party of Strom Thurmond. What does that mean? And they would never be able to tell you what it means. Liberals are pod people. They are parrots. If Rachel Maddow on her program tonight said Polly want a cracker, I would get a call tomorrow from some liberal brain-dead hack like that last caller telling me Polly wants a cracker. Okay? That's all they got. Now, after the next break, we'll take some more calls. I got a lot of stories to cover as well. A very heavy news day. And I am glad to see that everyone except the last caller agrees with me about Laura Ingram being out of control, rude, and inappropriate with President Trump. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. You know, on my Instagram yesterday, Brian Craig Show on Instagram, I posted a picture. I went out to lunch with Dr. Appleton, our laser-away pain doctor, on Saturday. Dr. Appleton took me out to lunch at a great Mexican restaurant in Boca. Oh, my goodness, the food was spectacular. And I got there a little early. So I went to the bar, and I took a picture of what I got at the bar. I put it on Instagram. I had a Corona and a shot of tequila. And I took a picture. I put it on Instagram. And I said, both of these drinks are for me. Dr. Appleton had water. That's right. He's the doctor. He had water and great, fresh Mexican food. Dr. Appleton's amazing. He's rid me of pain 7 times. His laser-away pain treatment works without medications, without shots, without injections, without downtime, on every type of pain I've ever heard of. This is an incomplete list, but I'm going to go through some of them. This is what laser therapy treats. But again, a very incomplete list. Arthritis, bursitis, work injuries, sports injuries, strains and sprains, repetitive motion injuries, post-surgical swelling, neck and back injuries, knee conditions, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis. I've talked to some people that have had their plantar fasciitis treated with Dr. Appleton. That is a god-awful pain, and they're not suffering any longer. Rotary tears, herniated disc, acute pain, chronic pain, the list goes on. Call Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain, too. And remember, appointments are not necessary, and walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturday. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in less than a minute, guys. I'm texting with someone. I try to answer. A lot of times you see me down here. Sometimes I'm looking at news stories. Sometimes I'm responding to DMs and text messages people send me during the show. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. All right, I'm going to go back to the phones. If you're on hold, hang in there. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You talking to me?
It sounds like you.
Listen, Brian, you're turning me into a chronic caller.
What's your
I
name?
never used to listen to you. Now I can't wait to get you on the air at 6 o'clock.
Oh, great.
Anyway, well, we want to talk about this Laura Ingraham. Well, I watch the news a lot. I'm very, very informed to what's going on because I like to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you something with this lady. Every time she comes on, I turn her off. And the reason I turn her off is because I go to the hockey game because the Panthers are playing. But when I want to listen to her sometimes, she's, you know what? She belongs right alongside of Rachel Maddow. Her and Rachel Maddow should be sitting on the same program because that's the way she puts herself out there.
Mm.
It's a shame that.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what's going. I'll tell you what's going on.
Like this on the
I'll tell
air.
you what's going on. Okay. Laura Ingraham has been in Washington since Ronald Reagan was president. So she's part of the permanent Washington class. Okay. She's a conservative. But these people view themselves as a special group. And she's telling herself, I'm going to be here after Trump is gone. This is his last term. So she's trying to get back her friends from the Republican establishment again, thinking they're going to be in charge when Trump's no longer in Washington. That's what she's doing. And there's a lot of that going on with some of these conservatives.
So let me ask you this question, Brian. Let's go down the road a little bit, maybe two years from now, and Trump has done what he said he was going to do. He turned his country around, which we believe he's going to do. My thinking is, I think I really believe he's getting along in the tooth age-wise. I'm exactly his age. I'm 78 years old. So I know how I feel. I know he's been taken care of with doctors and all kinds of stuff. When we see him, everybody thinks he's got dementia and this and that. He doesn't. Believe me. I know what it feels like to be 78. But they're taking care of him like they did with Biden. With Biden, it was a different story. They didn't know how to take care of him. He was too far gone. But the thing with Trump is, I believe, this is my opinion, and I'd like to hear what you have to say. I think after he's accomplished everything that he's done in this country, whether it be the next 4 years or before, I think he's going to hand it over to Vance and say, I'm done. I did what I have to. Now it's your.
Now, listen, I wish President Trump was 58, not 78, okay?
Yeah,
so understand, when he gets out of office, he's going to be 82. And I imagine, and this is just my guess, because we don't know how he's going to age. He's very healthy for a guy his age. I'm telling you, he's incredibly healthy for a guy his age, and he has zero dementia. Okay, the thing with I think what'll end up happening is he'll have a rally or two for whoever he endorses for president to replace him. He'll go, and then he'll go to the Republican convention every year and give an endorsement, and he'll do rallies from time to time for special people for the rest of his life. And then one day there's going to be a final rally that they'll make a big deal about. But that's what'll happen. And I'm hoping that I don't want to talk about the post-Trump presidency yet, but what he's done is he's got all these very young people. That's why I was talking about that reporter from Steve Bannon. He's got all these young people around him to take over the Republican Party in the name of MAGA. And he's building a very, very strong legacy. Look, Elon Musk said yesterday that he is going to make the maximum political contribution allowed by law to congressmen who support the impeachment of these out of control federal judges. Look at all these great people he has around him. Sean Duffy, Marco Rubio. It's not just JD. Yeah. So we've got a long bench of great MAGA in the future.
I agree with you 100%. And you know what made me think about this? I told you I watched the last time I spoke to you. I watched his show way back, whatever they called it, Survivor, the Candidate, whatever it was.
The Apprentice.
I'm getting dementia. The Apprentice. It shows you the way he was then, the way he is now. He if you look at the whole concept of what he did, he surrounded himself with people that he trusted, first of all, and knew exactly what they were doing and how they were doing it. And it was only to his liking, and that's the way he's running his presidency right now.
Yep.
He didn't do it before, because before it was like you and me becoming the president. We tried to give everybody, because we didn't know what we were doing. You walk into an office and it's like boom, boom. And especially with Obama before you, he screwed up everything. So now you have to fix it. Well, now he's in the same circumstances, but he got smarter.
Well, he obviously
very
spent the last 4 years building up what his cabinet and staff was going to be, because everyone's perfect in there.
100%.
You know, and
Brian,
I appreciate the call, by the way. And you know, one of the things too is when the Never Trumpers shot the president in Butler, it's just changed him, and he really doesn't spend any time trying to justify anything he's doing to the media or anyone else. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, I watched that Laura, and I was saying, what does she think? She's talking to one of her friends. I mean, it didn't seem to have the respect she's supposed to have. I mean, if they're friends, even he's still the president of the United States. You let him talk, and you wait until he finishes, and then you say something. And the next question, man, I was really annoyed. You know, I hear she makes like $10-12 million. She's not worth that much money.
Really?
She's
10 or 12 million? I am underpaid.
Yeah, that's another question. I thought you were going to be the number one guy to take over Bongino, but man,
you're not the only one. I was talking about that. So I was approached by people to make motions to do that, but obviously they didn't pick me.
Well, you should be making those motions again, because I think they may want to give you an opportunity, because you would be much better than that guy. The guy's not terrible, but. You're
talking about the Vince show, the guy that they replaced Bongino with? Yeah, it's weak.
Yeah,
very weak.
I heard him. He's all right. He's okay, not great, but you would be 10 times better.
He's the kind of guy you have on maybe as a guest on the phone. He's not a main personality to take over a show, especially a show like that one. He's just weak.
Yeah.
And that I only heard the first show. He spent the whole thing interviewing Tucker, which was really uninteresting, because Tucker didn't really have anything new to talk about. I'm Tucker, I'm here, and J.D. Vance is going to be the nominee. Whoop-dee, okay, all right. You had to come in studio for that? I love you, Tucker, but come on.
Yes, certainly, I think we would do better. But there's Laura, man, I was aggravated that she, interrupting the president and not being right. And I don't see why she did that, but I would think that President Trump is not going to be looking to do any more interviews with her.
I don't know. We'll see. All right, Doug. Appreciate the call. Take care. Yeah, we'll find out. I want to tell you guys about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's with the installation of your Sloman Shield. If you don't have this doorbell camera already, you should get it. And it also makes a great gift. It's amazing how many things I see in the news that is footage from doorbell cameras now. It's amazing. From the Venezuelan gang members in Colorado and at an apartment building, that was all taken off of doorbell camera. These things are amazing. And, you get a notification on your cell phone whenever there's movement at your door. So Sloman's are going to give you a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. You can get this as a gift, too, for mom, for dad, for your adult children. But Sloman's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for the doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, plus a backup battery. And you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call right now, no matter where you are located, and get your free doorbell camera, all right? 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. I'm Brian. We'll be right back.
We'll be back in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We'll be back in 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. We have passed the halfway mark of today's program. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Okay, got a lot of news I haven't covered yet that I want to touch on, but I got a personal thank you to Elon Musk. Elon got me my Twitter back. You know, my Twitter X that I've had for many years, Brian Craig Show on X, was hacked and hijacked. And I got it back yesterday afternoon. So I thought it was gone forever. And if you got any DMs from me on X in the last 2 or 3 weeks, those were not from me. Okay, I apologize for that. They were DMing people as me to book them on the radio show and other things. I was going through some of the DMs last night. I couldn't believe. But I got my X back. Thank you, Elon Musk. Brian Craig Show on X. You know, I was glad to get it back. I started a new X, which I have. So I've got 2 now. So I'll keep both of them. But I really had kissed it off. I thought it was gone forever, and I was glad to get it back because I have a lot of very famous celebrities that follow me on that account and have for many years. And luckily, none of them got DM'd. They didn't get to them yet, but it was nice to get it back because it really felt like a violation, like a identity theft, and it happened just like that. And I know when and how it happened, and and I know who did it, and everything has been rectified. So my old X is back, Brian Craig Show. But those of you that got DMs in the last, I guess it was the end of last month, so almost a month. So it was 3 weeks. That was not me, okay, asking you to be a guest on the program. It was pretty strange. Okay, I want to get to some issues, though. Strange that Tim Walz I was talking about this yesterday. Tim Walz was on Newsom's podcast day before yesterday, and it's been trending on X for 2 days. It's the number one trend right now on X is Tim Walz, and he thinks he's running for president. And Bruce Jenner, he commented yesterday, Caitlyn Jenner said, I'm more masculine than Tim Walz. I thought that was very funny. More manly than Tim Walz, one or the other. Very true, very funny. But there's a big news story came out of his state. Listen to this. We're getting some justice here. Amy Bach, the mastermind behind Feeding Our Future, has been found guilty on all counts. She had an NGO
that stole over $250 million from taxpayers. This is the largest pandemic fraud scheme in the country, all made possible by the incompetence of Governor Tim Walz's administration in Minnesota. And here you have Tim Walz with the largest pandemic fraud case, just boom, because of his administration, and he's out there running for president. And I know that conviction could not have come down at a better time. Now this. I was watching. It was Outnumbered yesterday or the day before. I had Outnumbered on in the background on Fox yesterday or the day before, and one of the women on Outnumbered said something that was so true. This Hamas Iranian terrorist spokesperson that they arrested in New York the other day. What's his name? Mahmoud. And one of the women on Outnumbered said, "Would you be surprised if the left had a parade in his honor in New York City?" And you know what? No, I wouldn't. And if they hear about that, maybe they'll, oh, that's a great idea. Well, there's been another arrest. Listen to this is so good, so beautiful, and so perfect. A Georgetown professor has been arrested over Hamas connections, and that's right. So they've arrested another one in a very high-profile arrest. This country has been taken over by incredibly radical Islamic terrorist activists who are spies, and the one of the greatest things we have in this country is the American love of diversity. We are the most diverse country in the world, and it's a great strength in this country. But the enemies use that, they consider that a weakness, and they use that against us. And they have infiltrated our country, mostly it seems in very key positions in academia, that are people that are working for Iran, trying to bring down this country. And we have two high-profile arrests now, this Georgetown professor and Mahmoud. These are two high-ranking ones. And I saw a story yesterday that one of these Islamic spies self-deported this week through Canada because they were afraid they were going to get arrested. It was a lady. So it's about time that we don't just suck it up and are supposed to get attacked by these organizers that are directly working for, they say Hamas, but they're working, as if that's not bad. It is bad to be with Hamas. But Hamas is Iran, and it is absolutely amazing. And this story is a very high-profile story about this Georgetown professor in all the major media today. So I promise you, there's a lot of these terrorist spokespeople all over the country, mainly, though, in the Northeast, that are terrified right now that Kash Patel is on to them. It's about time. And I remember when I went to college, and I just went to Florida Atlantic University here. I wasn't in one of these lunatic asylums, Columbia or Georgetown or anything. But I had liberal professors, and luckily I was an adult in college. And you sit in these, and I remember so many times sitting in a college lecture with a liberal lunatic. I had one professor. This guy, I did something inadvertently that freaked him out. He was one of my professors, and he was talking about this professor that he had at where he went to college at. And it's been a long time, so I can't remember the name of the professor or anything. But we had as a guest, but he was always referencing this professor that he had at one of these lefty universities. And I know, isn't it crazy? And it was I took a class. It was the history, because I have a history and education degree. It was a class on the history of Islam. It was the history of the Muslim religion, and it was a 2-semester class I took in college. And this guy, he was not Muslim; he was an American, but he went to one of these lefty pro-Islamic universities, and he was always talking about this professor. And I was on the air when I was in college. Like I said, I was an adult. And we had the great David Horowitz as a guest on the program. Now, you guys know David Horowitz, awesome guy. And he had a book out, and I can't remember the exact title, but it was something like this: the top 101 most radical professors in America. And we had him on as a guest, and I was thumbing through the book, and my professor's professor was in the book, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. It was a so my professor's professor, the professor that my professor was always talking about what a great guy he was, an inspiration to him in his educational journey in college. He was listed as one of the most radical professors in America by the great David Horowitz. And I had class that week, and I took David Horowitz's book, and I just left it outside of my professor's office, and I didn't do it for anything other than to let him know that his professor's in this book. I thought he might find it interesting. Boy, was I wrong. He started a whole investigation as to who he wanted to know who left his book at his office. He was like freaked out. And he brought it up more than once in my class, and also in every class he taught at the university, which they usually teach 3 if they're a full-time professor, but if they really work hard, 4 a week, 3 or 4 classes a week. And he told the whole story. And I don't think I'm radical. Why? If you left this at my door, please let me know and understand I'm not radical. It was bizarre, and I almost felt bad. But the point of this, these radical professors and students, a lot of these students at these universities, like this Hamas guy at Georgetown that they just arrested, or at Columbia, a lot of the students are wackadoodle, no doubt, but not all of them. As we're seeing with this new generation of young people through Charlie Kirk and that girl I was talking about earlier with Steve Bannon, a lot of young people sit in these classes like I did when I was in college, and you have to listen to these jerks spread their left-wing garbage to you, okay? And you have to sit there and give them the answers on the bubble, Scantron sheet that they want, and they don't agree with it, and they're being held hostage in such respect by liberal college professors. And these radical lunatics that are being arrested and are facing deportation, courtesy of Florida's own Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Believe me, students are happy about this. They're tired of this. All right, let's take a call or two, and then we'll break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Melvin, and I'm calling from Louisville.
All right, what's up?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it real short. Big fan of your show. I just had one question on this district judge that, it's a two-part, on the district judge that, try to do these things towards the deportations. Do you think he will be impeached? And if he is impeached, what's that process going to be like? And also, I thought that only the Supreme Court is the court that's able to actually check the president. I didn't think a district judge had the power to. Well,
it depends. Elon Musk said yesterday that he is going to make the largest donation the law allows to every member of Congress who supports impeaching these federal judges. So that's the first bud. So he and Trump are buddies. So that tells me that Trump's interested in impeaching these judges. Yeah, this is judicial terrorism. I mean, they're trying to hijack the country. So they should be impeached. Yeah, they and removed from office. And it's a lot of these judges have conflicts of interest with different organizations, and basically some of them are. Well, one of the judges, I have a few articles. I don't know if I'll get to them on the show today. I just perused them, but maybe I will on my podcast later if I don't get to it on the radio today. But like one of these judges, they have a daughter who's on a radical organization. One of the judges has Islamic connections that's going against Trump. One of them is an Obama and Biden donor. One of them volunteered for the Biden campaign. So when a judge is corrupt, it's not unusual to remove them from the bench. There used to be a guy, his name was Alcee Hastings. He was a member of Congress here in Florida for many years. He was part of the Congressional Black Caucus. Before he was in Congress, he was a federal judge appointed by Jimmy Carter, and he was a Democrat. He was impeached from the bench and removed from the federal bench on suspicion of taking bribes in a drug trafficking case. And I knew him because before he was in Congress, after he was impeached, he used to fill in for Steve sometimes at the radio station I started out with Steve at. And he was in, so it's not unusual. There was a guy that we used to have on all the time who was in Congress, and he went to prison for using campaign cash to pay gambling debts. And we used to have him on the show all the time, Democrat, after he got out of prison. Okay. And I remember one caller called in and said, why'd you steal the money? And he said, because I needed the money, so I took it. So it's not unusual. There's a long history of judges and members of Congress who have conflicts of interest or take bribes to do things like Goldbar Menendez recently are thrown out of office. So yeah, these judges should be impeached and removed because what they're doing could be in some instances bribery, but they're also in other instances they're part of an insurrection against the president. So yeah, they should be impeached and removed. Absolutely. Yeah. Now it'll be a big deal because the left will have meltdowns, and it would.
Yeah, that's good to know. Because I know that when a judge is appointed, they're appointed for life unless they get promoted to a new seat.
That doesn't mean they can go out and do crime. That doesn't mean they can do crime. And
correct. If they get impeached, that's where they take away their power, their judicial power. Is that correct?
You can go to prison, removed from the bench, and go to prison.
Oh, so he could even maybe go to prison if they find a lot of corruption. And
if they took a bribe, sure. If they took a bribe, absolutely, yeah. Sure.
Oh, well, I really love your show, Brian, and thank you so much for being honest, impartial, and just letting.
No, I'm not impartial. I support Trump always and always will. But I appreciate the comments. Thanks so much. Okay. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Brian. Hey, hold on. I'm very biased towards Trump. But I'm not a journalist. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, what do you have for us this morning?
Well, good morning, Brian. You and I spoke the other day on the air briefly about the story that's in the news now with actor Gene Hackman.
Yep.
And his estate, and it's very interesting to follow. And unfortunately, this is something that happens often with wealthy people, celebrities, and you would think that they'd have their estate plan set up properly, and it's yet to be seen. I can't tell you for sure that there's anything wrong with what this is and how it's going to turn out, but it should be interesting. But one of the things that's part of this now is, even though Gene Hackman was an incredible actor in so many great films and super well respected in Hollywood, one of the things that people are going to remember now is these stories at the end of his life about what happened with his estate, and that's not the way people want to be remembered, leaving a mess behind. And that's why it's so important to have an estate plan that's set up properly, that's not going to leave a mess behind, that's going to make sure that your assets go where it's supposed to go and stay where they are supposed to go, and that you have the right people in place, and so that it's going to work out cleanly, quickly, and inexpensively.
Yeah, a couple things that and we don't know the whole story with Gene Hackman, but he had a much younger wife who did die first. But a lot of times people, they get older and they have a new spouse that's not the mother of their children, and because they're older and have some issues, they can take advantage and end up with everything. And without the bloodline planning, things could go to your stepmother or stepfather's family that you don't even know. And a lot of times too, Barry, I'm sure you run it. A lot of people they like to have control over the money with their kids. So they tell themselves, I want to be in control, so I don't set up a revocable living trust. But actually, a revocable living trust gives you more control than you could imagine, even after you're gone, because you make all the decisions.
Well, yeah, you're dictating what the decisions are, even during your incapacity, how things will be handled during your incapacity, and after your passing. And from what I'm gathering with the Hackman situation, it seems that he had named his wife, and only his wife, did not name his children. Only mentioned them in the will that they are indeed his children, but did not name them as beneficiaries. And so that, whether that was intentional or not, but what could end up happening potentially, there's still a lot of facts to be discovered, but potentially, if given that the spouse predeceased, and there may be terms in there that may make this different, but it could end up being where it ultimately goes to the kids anyway, if the rules, and I don't know the rules of intestacy, I think they're in New Mexico, but typically it would end up going to the lineal descendants.
Yeah, is this something that happens a lot of times where you see remarriages and the kids look on paper like they might be cut? That's just most things I would think would have to be pretty bad for a parent to disinherit all their kids. There might be a bad apple, but when they have multiple kids, and it's hard for me to believe many parents want to disinherit all their children on purpose.
Yeah, from everything I've read so far, there wasn't much about his relationship, particularly with his kids, other than one interview where he said something along the lines of it's tough to be a child of a celebrity.
That is true. That's true. Yeah. Well, listen, give Attorney Barry Siegel a call. And remember, it's a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group if you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program. And no matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help. Here's their number, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Brian.
All right, take care. Since the last caller brought up the judges, Stephen Miller yesterday was on fire about the I love Stephen Miller. He out of everyone in the Trump administration, he's the one. If President Trump talks, I stop whatever I'm doing. Okay? There's no doubt about that. But out of everyone else in his administration, the only one that I'll stop whatever I'm doing to hear what they have to say is Stephen Miller. He's the best, isn't he? Oh, my goodness. He is the best spokesperson President Trump could ever have. He's very good, and I love it. And here is Stephen Miller talking about the judges.
You cannot have a democracy where single individual district court judges can assume the full total powers of the commander-in-chief. Even on the Supreme Court, it takes agreement of 5 Supreme Court justices to change a federal policy. 5. A single district court judge out of 700 cannot set policy for the entire nation, let alone on national security and public safety issues. The president has been clear that he has tremendous respect for Justice Roberts and believes it's essential the Supreme Court crack down and stop this assault on our democracy from these radical rogue judges that are usurping the powers of the presidency and laying waste to our entire constitutional system.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And what the judges are doing is pretty obvious. Okay, they're telling themselves, they're trying to slow down anything Trump does. They're telling themselves that he's a lame duck. after the midterms, he'll really be a lame duck, and that there's not a lot of time left till the midterms and then his presidency, and they're trying to stop him. Here's one of the judges, U.S. District Judge Theodore, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, it's Asian, Chinese, of Maryland, who ruled on Tuesday that cuts to USAID were unconstitutional, is a longtime Democratic Party activist with a left-wing history, and it goes into detail. All these judges, it's not just that they were appointed by Biden or Obama. Or maybe Clinton. They have a long history of left-wing activism, or they have a family member that's involved in some of these left-wing organizations standing up to try to stop Trump from all this good that he was elected to do. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Dave in Jupiter.
Hey, Dave, speak up.
Oh, sorry. Hey, Dave in Jupiter.
Hey, you're on the air.
I was flipping. Yes, thank you. I was flipping through the channels, and I caught your little blurb about, students being indoctrinated in these liberal colleges by these liberal professors. Last I heard is this was America. You're making it sound like they're prisoners. If they don't like it, they don't have to go there. They can go to a different college, right?
Well, college kids they're children. They may be over the age of 18, but their minds have not even stopped developing yet, right? Their brains are still developing, and they go to these liberal universities, and they're brainwashed by the professors.
No, my point is they don't have to go. You make it sound like they're prisoners. Then don't go to that school.
Well,
go to Fordham.
Okay.
Fordham is a Jesuit school.
A lot of people go to colleges and choose particular colleges for all kinds of reasons, okay? And sometimes, you want to have that Columbia degree or Harvard or Yale or Princeton because that's the golden ticket to get somewhere. If you have a degree, for example, from Hillsdale College, which is a fine conservative school, you're probably going to have a hard time finding work if you went to Hillsdale. So a lot of people go to these schools, but it's also not unusual. You're in Jupiter, all right? So we got a lot of people here in Florida. It is not unusual. I've heard this story many times over the years that someone who is Jewish, they're strong supporters of Israel. They send their kids off to college. They come back after 1 or 2 semesters, and they're talking like Palestinians are victims and Israel is bad and all this stuff. Kids go to colleges and they get brainwashed. And not all parents are as politically active and as knowledgeable as we are to know what goes on in these schools.
Well, they sound like real weak individuals if they don't have their own...
Well, they're kids. They're kids. Where'd you go to college?
I went to college. I wasn't indoctrinated. I pushed back on everything that I thought was,
Really? You pushed back? Tell me about that, when that happened.
What do you mean, what happened?
You say you pushed back throughout college against liberal professors? Give us tell us about that.
Anything that I felt was...
All right, walk me through the exchange. Walk me through the event when you stood up in class against one of these left-wing radical college professors.
It was in a socialism class, social studies class about how in society...
Social studies? There's no college class named social studies. What was the course called? What was the name of the course?
Oh my God, it was 40 years ago.
Yeah, pick one that you can remember.
It was Sociology 101. Hey, you know what's another good idea?
Okay, Sociology 101. So tell us what happened. What did the professor say?
Why don't conservatives start their own college?
Oh, why don't you I thought you were one of us. I thought you were one of us. Oh, busted. 30 seconds ago, he's a conservative who stood up to liberal professors. Now he says, why don't you conservatives start your own college? Oh. Busted. Nailed. Got him. Boy, oh boy. Oh my goodness.
Got him good. That was like, I was like Tom Cruise with Jack Nicholson on the stand and A Few Good Men with that one. He admitted, it was like Perry Mason. He confessed to something that he had no intention on confessing. If you're on hold, hang in there. 2 hours down, 1 to go. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. See, that's why they should have had me replaced Bongino. Examples like that. You think the Vince show in place of Bongino could do that? 1-888-465-2631 is our toll-free number. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break. That was a good one. That guy choked, as President Trump would say, under the pressure. We'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. Social studies in college. Sociology 101. Oh, yes. I took Sociology 101. I had to take it. I took Sociology 101 and Psychology 101. It was part of the requirements. You're welcome to call in. The toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. If you're watching live, you can call in. That guy was listening on the radio in Jupiter. 90 seconds. One minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, I knew as soon as I took the call he was a liberal. I got a good ear for that. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. I just got a text message during the break. I have an appointment at 10:45 over the phone, a phone appointment with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. You know, I lost over 25 pounds in less than a month, which was amazing. It was a pound a day I was losing. And I met my goal and then some.
And one thing I haven't talked about with Coastal Weight Loss Secret is they have coaches over there that are in contact with you quite regularly about your weight loss journey. And today, well, I know what they're going to ask me because I was talking to them about this. Do I want to continue to lose weight or maintain since I've surpassed my goal? And what I'm going to do is maintain where I am until after the cruise. And then after the cruise, when we get back after the first week of April, I'm gonna go for more weight loss because I am so successful. And and the reason I'm going to maintain right now, I've lost so much weight. If I continue to lose weight, I'm gonna have to buy a whole new wardrobe before the cruise. And a lot of these are clothes that I only wear once a year. My suits and my blazers and stuff. I only wear those on the cruise, and then I get them cleaned and hang them up until the next cruise. So I don't want to lose any more weight. All right, you guys on the cruise, you're going to notice I'm going to look like I'm wearing some of my dad's clothes because some of my clothes are going to be baggy on me, but that's okay. But I'm going to maintain where I'm at right now, and then after the cruise, I'm going to continue to lose even more weight. You know, with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I just want to lose 25 pounds. I lost a little bit more than that. But if you want to lose 20 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help you too. I'm going to give you their number. When you call, make sure you mention you heard them on the True Oldies channel, okay? Their number 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, the third hour has begun, friends. We'll go right back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Scott. Are you hearing me?
Yes, Scott.
Yeah. I'll just give you my college woke experience, and it's nothing really. My college, my alma mater now, University of Arkansas Fayetteville, is very woke. OMG. But in my final semester, it was the fall of '86. After that, I was done. My girlfriend, who was a journalism major, had a student press pass, wanted me to go to the Women's Month meeting. And I got to watch Hillary give a speech.
Oh.
And it was all about the ERA and abortion and such and such. And I looked at her and I listened to her. It's the first time I'd ever seen her. I saw Bill Clinton one time at a 12K run in front of the Capitol building in Little Rock. I saw him then, and that was it.
Yeah.
But this was the first time to ever see Hillary. This was about 10 years later. And I thought to myself, my gosh, what a strong personality. She seems like she's from somewhere around Chicago. I just read her accent.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, she's going to be a senator from Arkansas. I can tell she's ambitious. Oh, boy, did I get that one wrong.
Well, you're right. She is from Chicago. She was from Chicago.
Yeah, I sense that from her accent because I listen to I won't name it out loud, but it's a pretty prominent Chicago station. I was a talk show listener back then, and so I heard a lot of Chicago accents.
Well, you know, actually, she was part of a cell. Her parents were part of a cell. Hillary Clinton's parents were part of an organization that was made up of the parents of Bill Ayers, Valerie Jarrett, and Frank Marshall Davis was a part of that organization. So Frank Marshall Davis, who was Obama's mentor. So it was Hillary Clinton's parents, Valerie Jarrett's parents. Remember Valerie Jarrett with Obama?
Oh yeah.
Bill Ayers' parents, the weatherman terrorist who ghost wrote Obama's autobiography. And Frank Marshall Davis was the single guy in that group. So there was this Chicago radical cell of anarchists, and her parents in Chicago were a part of that.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Appreciate the call. Take care. Take care. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Dustin.
Yeah, Dustin.
I called you yesterday.
Okay.
How you doing, man?
All right.
I have a question for you about sociology. The subject, because I have a son who he's going to school for it. Is it a good subject to go to school for?
I don't know. To be a sociologist? No, that's a terrible career. What's do you know any sociologists?
I don't know one. I don't know even one except for him. Well, he's majoring in it.
No, I don't know. There's not really much of a career for sociologists.
Okay.
You know, no, I don't know what that sounds like. People that major in English literature.
Okay, it's like English. Okay, English literature. That's not bad though, is it?
What if I have a bachelor's degree in sociology? What can I do with that?
No, maybe you can do something with the.
You know what you can do with that? If you have a degree in sociology, you know what you can do? You can get a job at Starbucks or the Old Navy. That's about it.
I asked him the same thing. I was like, "What can you do with this? Can you be a teacher? I don't know what you can do with this."
He could probably become a teacher. Yes, a school teacher.
Right, and then it's going to just be another teacher.
Yeah. No, that's a terrible major.
I wanted him to do.
It's not an education degree. So he could probably get a job as a teacher, but he won't have that's a waste of time. I hope you're not paying for that. I hope he's paying his own way.
Oh, he's a cook now. He's cooking. He's working as a cook now.
Yeah, well, he better get used to that. As with a sociology degree is worth nothing. You know, college degrees. I worked very hard to go to college. Okay, my parents didn't go to college, and I was very excited to go, and I got my degree. And it's in a filing cabinet somewhere in a closet. I don't even have it on the wall. You know, it's like you work so hard for these things, and you know what do they mean? You know what I mean? But get a real major where he can get a job. I appreciate it. You know, this thing about the liberal colleges and the professors. See, part of this, and this is a problem we have as conservatives. We put an emphasis on private industry, profession, and liberals put a focus on education. So we really need to do a mass recruitment with these young up-and-coming conservatives through Turning Point USA to become school teachers and college professors. Academia has been taken over by leftists because we don't encourage young people to be. Even I was discouraging his son from becoming a school teacher. I went to college to be a social studies history teacher. I don't do that. You know what I mean? So we got to encourage people to become teachers more that are conservative. And that's how we would take back our universities and public schools. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you coming from? Or calling from? Where are you coming from? I guess
this is Junior from Martin County.
Junior from MAGA, Martin County. What's up?
Hey, last week you had Scott on the radio from Cut My Kilowatts. I want to say maybe Tuesday or Thursday. I texted him right after he got off the air, and I wanted to do the radiant barrier in my home.
Well, and they can't call in about the sponsors on the. I will call Scott and ask him about that on my own. All right. Oh my goodness, these people. I'll talk to Scott about that. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. Our number 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2630. You know, the thing is with the totally screenless, unvetted calls, every once in a while you get that in. And we're on it. If you notice this week, last week too, but this week and last week, the leftists, the liberals that are calling the show aren't so much interested in discussing anything of substance. They want to talk about anything other than the issues. Many of them I've had to hang up on and dump because of language. All right, listen. We're going to take our first break of the third hour. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Hello? You there? Hey, it's Brian. Hey, I got a bad connection. Let me hang up and call you right back. Okay? I'll call you right back. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, we got about 50 seconds. Do you cover Martin County? Okay, a guy called me just a minute ago from Martin County. Okay, you do. Okay, hold on. Okay. We are back. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. And on the line, Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. Hey, Scott, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Hey there. I was just asking you during the break about your coverage area because you cover. I was asking if you cover Martin County, which you do.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right, what do you have for us today?
Well, still doing what I do, which is radiant barrier, ductwork, and insulation. Anything up in the attic. I mean, we can clean your attic out too if you need it cleaned out.
Well, with the radiant barrier, I remember you've been with us for 15 years on the program, and the best way to explain radiant barrier, in my view, is it's like putting a shade tree over your house. And right now the weather's all right, but during that hot, humid time during the summer, the attic gets hot, the air conditioner is running 24 hours a day, and it never quite cools your house off. But with the radiant barrier, that's not the case. And how much does the radiant barrier lower the average house temperature?
If you do radiant barrier by itself, 20 to 30%. If you do it along with, a fresh application of insulation, you usually can pick up another 10%, so like 30 to 40% when you do them together.
Yeah.
It's kind of a 1-2 punch. That's what you really need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and it does work. I've talked to many listeners and friends of mine who have had the radiant barrier installed in their home by Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. And it's the gift that keeps on giving all year round, no matter how long you live in your home, because once it's in, it's in. And, during those hot summer months here in Florida, it can be pretty unbearable. And most people have at least one room, if not two rooms, that are what I call the hot rooms. But it's a great benefit, Scott, to those that have a second story. I know a lot of people that have two-story homes that have two air conditioning units, and the electric bill must be through the roof. But radiant barrier can really help those of you that have two-story homes as well. Well, let me, now, are there some specials that are going on this month? Can you tell people about them, Scott?
Basically, right now, you're getting the radiant barrier for 39 cents off its normal install price, so you're like at $1. That's the prices that I had. Actually, it's cheaper than when I first started with you 15 years ago because we've gotten much more efficient at putting it in. I designed a 26-inch roll, so it fits perfect. They used to only have 48-inch rolls. You cut them in half. They didn't fit right.
Mm-hmm.
Just an extra couple inches.
Yeah.
So.
Well, listen, guys, give Scott a Cut My Kilowatts call. You can also text. You can call or text. He'll call you right back. His number, 954-939-1500.
954-939-1500. All right, Scott, we'll talk tomorrow.
Sure, and radiant barrier is like the biggest game changer you can do. Everyone that does it says it's the best thing they ever did to their house.
Sure is. Absolutely. All right, Scott, take care.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Now, I wanted, by the way, if you're on hold, hang in there. I got a couple of stories that I want to get to. One of them is Conor McGregor, who was at the White House this week, and I was really caught off guard by this because I don't follow Ireland too much, okay? And who does? But I guess he's the president, not the prime minister. But the leader of Ireland was visiting the president, Donald Trump, last week, and he seemed like a nice guy, great guy. And we come to find that Ireland is being overrun like the rest of Europe, and they're losing everything. They're losing their culture. They're losing their language. It's a small country with a small population. And Conor McGregor is not messing around. He's afraid of losing. And he yesterday said this. Listen to this. This was his message to the government of Ireland. He says, "You have 12 days to present a clear plan of action on mass deportations." This is in Ireland. "And border security. If you don't, my plan will be sent to you on White House paper and it's over for you." So what Conor McGregor is talking about doing is becoming the president of Ireland, or prime minister, whichever one they have. And, you know, they're a tiny country with a tiny population that is being overrun by like mad. I've seen some videos online of the schools in Ireland, and it doesn't look like there's many Irish there. It's really been overrun through this EU uncontrolled, undocumented immigration that we've seen in so many of the other countries, and they're on the verge of losing it. And Conor McGregor, who's only in his 30s, I thought he was much older. I guess boxing and kickboxing and all that ages you, but I thought he was much older. But he knows that Ireland could fall like that because of how small the population is. I mean, look, we in so many ways we've lost New York City. It seems, right? We're barely holding on to New York City, and Ireland's got a population of the whole country less than that of New York City, right? So. You know, this is a big move. Now, a caller called in earlier about the judges. And I was talking about the different conflicts with these judges that are working to stop President Trump. And here's another one. I shared a couple of the judges earlier in the show, but here's another one. Listen to this. A federal judge who blocked President Trump from implementing an executive order banning transgender troops from serving in the military has a long history of activism in the Democrat Party, including volunteering for Joe Biden and donating tens of thousands of dollars to Democrat campaigns. U.S. District Judge Anna Reyes, a Biden appointee who was the first openly gay federal judge in D.C., acknowledged in her Senate questionnaire during her confirmation that she volunteered for Biden's 2020 presidential campaign. She provided legal assistance to the Biden campaign, and she's donated tens of thousands of dollars to the Democrats, and she's one of the judges. This is, you know, I think a lot of times people have gotten used to accepting this idea of activist judges. And that's not something we should accept. And it's something that's not being accepted. And when Elon Musk said yesterday he's going to donate as much money as federal election laws allow to congressmen who support the impeachment of these out-of-control radical judges, calling them an activist judges, it just doesn't quite do it. These are criminal judges that are part of an insurrection against the United States. And people say, oh, activist judges, like that's okay. It is not okay. And impeaching them and removing them is necessary. And I'm waiting to get some announcements from Pam Bondi about the investigation of this Judge Mershon and his daughter, because Kash Patel was talking a lot about how that needs to be looked at. And I haven't heard anything about it, but I'm sure they're on the case. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning to you.
Hey, Richie.
A little later today for me.
Oh, okay.
I listened to this, what you just said about Ireland, You just have to look at. I mean, it's all in Europe, Brian. I mean, you know, people don't want to say it. It's Muslims, and it's Muslims that are not assimilating into the country. They're carrying their own religion and their own laws into these countries, and they're out populating the people. I mean, in London,
it's an invasion. It's an invasion that's going on.
Oh yeah, you have to, but it's dangerous. I mean, they stabbing people in London and in England. They're stabbing people on the streets on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You go and look at all these cars ramming into people during festivals. I mean, this is not isolated.
Well, England is gone. It cannot be saved. It's been totally assimilated into the Muslim world, and it's gone. It's Saudi Arabia now.
Have you seen France lately?
Yeah, well, France has been that way for years. I mean, we've seen it going on in France for 20 years. But Ireland is there's only like 9 million people in Ireland or something, right? I mean, we have more Irish here than they have in Ireland. It doesn't take much to take over a country that small.
No, you're right. If you look at France, you just have to go. I remember when Periscope used to be, and I used to go on Periscope, and you go to France, and I have to tell you, 90% were actually black. It looked like Nigeria.
Yes.
I mean, literally, there's no French people in
There's
Paris.
yeah, that's correct.
I mean,
that's true.
It's just all over.
Well, and that's what's going on in Ireland. You know, Ireland is a small country with a small population, but there hasn't been a lot of immigration in the past there, right? Everybody's got red hair and everything else. But they've been so overtaken by Muslims through this EU open border, no passport needed, and Ireland, that they're going to lose their whole culture. I mean, it's going to be gone.
Well, you know what it's affecting? It's affecting all these countries that the politicians are afraid to open their mouth because they won't get voted in, because these people have taken over their elections. This is a perfect example of what President Trump is trying to stop here. They've taken over the elections where a politician won't. I mean, they're anti-Israel. All of the politicians, even England, they're afraid.
Conor McGregor, like what he's taught, he knows that they have a very small window to save Ireland. And of course he's inspired by President Trump, and he knows if he doesn't make a move now to stop it, Ireland will fall too.
Yeah, you mention Israel to any of those countries, and their government will be anti-Israeli because they're afraid of upsetting their population, which are all Muslims, and they're having riots all over the place.
Well, what happens is these, if you want to call them immigrants, call them immigrants. And not only do they not assimilate, they're like the Borg in Star Trek. They want to assimilate the countries into their way of life. They want to assimilate you, and they feel totally justified for some strange reason, and they know what they're doing, you know. But they not only do they not assimilate, they make look at what's going on in Minnesota, where the Somalians have their own police in Minnesota in the United States.
Minnesota's gone.
Yeah,
you're right. You're 100% right. But when you open your mouth, you're Islamophobic.
Islamophobe. Yeah, I know.
Everyone, they criticize you're racist. You're this. You're that. You tell the truth. Whatever you see is the truth. And then they say you're afraid because you're white at the brown people taking over.
That's right. That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. All right, Richie. I got to run for the bottom of the hour. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm Brian. The Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
We'll be back in 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We've covered a lot today. If you're on hold, hang in there. And if you'd like to call in about anything I brought up so far, you're certainly welcome at 1-888-465-2631. There was these JFK files. There's more and more stuff starting to come out about them. I was just reading an article this morning. Anna Paulina Luna, she said that one of there's some records in there that say that he knew that President Kennedy knew the CIA was plotting to take him out before it happened, and that he had reached out to Russian agents for help against the CIA. And I believe there's a document that may say something like that. I'm not so sure how exactly true that is. I believe he knew they were coming after him, but reaching out to Russia in 1963, I don't know about that. But that very well may have been one of the things they used to justify doing what they did to Kennedy, the deep state. And if you get it, day 2 of these Kennedy files, and people are going through them, and I know it's a lot, but everything in these files, it seems it all goes back to the CIA every single time, doesn't it? Every single time. And that tells us everything we need to know. And someone said yesterday what the files that were released, unredacted, and there's more coming. They're still adding to the. They have to transfer these things to the PDF before they can send them around to everybody. And there's a lot more coming. But I heard someone say yesterday, and it's so true. What these files show us is that all the conspiracy theories were true about the assassination of President Kennedy, and there's no doubt about it. It's pretty scary. It really is that they not only did they do that they got away with it, and I can only imagine what happened after that, because when the deep state did what they did to President Kennedy and got away with it. What criminals do, they're like little children. When they get away with something, they double down. If I can get away with that, I can get away with this, and it gets worse. So more and more is coming out. I'm looking forward to it. Now, a little bit more on this university professor that was arrested. Listen to this. A researcher studying at Georgetown University was detained, that means arrested, by federal immigration authorities on Monday over allegations by the Trump administration that the foreign exchange student spread Hamas propaganda through social media, according to reports. See, you can't be over here on a visa of any kind as a guest in the country and then start organizing against the country. That's crazy. I mean, as an example, what this guy is doing, this would be like having someone here on a student visa in 1940 who was organizing in favor, before we were in the war, organizing in favor of Germany over Japan. You can't deport someone like that, or over England. I mean, it makes no sense at all. Since when can you have people in this country on student visas organizing in favor of our enemies or the enemies of our allies? I can't even pronounce his name, okay? He's an Indian national in the United States on a student visa. He was arrested at his home in Virginia by masked agents from the Department of Homeland Security. His lawyer alleges in a lawsuit obtained by CBS News and Politico getting that USAID, or they used to get that USAID money. And, this thing about wearing masks, I'm not 100% sure what that's about, but I saw that video yesterday of the Venezuelan gang members videotaping the ICE agents that were arresting them, the ones that had to break the windows of the car. So they probably have to protect their identities so that they're not doxxed. They probably don't wear name tags either. I was talking to a police officer once, a while back, and he was telling me, as a police officer, he says, I'm arresting these guys. They're terrible people. And and my name's on my uniform, you know what I mean? And I live here in the community. Yeah, it's, that's what it is. He teaches, and he's a student at Georgetown University. He is working on he's a postdoctoral associate. He married a U.S. citizen. See, he figures that's his anchor. Like that Mahmoud guy that was working for Hamas in Iran at Columbia. He's married to an American citizen, so he figures that's their anchor. If they're married to an American citizen, they can organize for the terrorist. Well, it just doesn't work that way. He was told by agents of Homeland Security that his student visa had been revoked. The Trump administration alleges that he actively was spreading Hamas propaganda, promoting anti-Semitism as well on social media, according to CBS. They say he had close connections to a senior advisor to Hamas. Well, that's terrorist, which Marco Rubio determined rendered him deportable under the Immigration and Nationality Act on March 15th. His lawyer filed a writ of habeas corpus in Virginia challenging the detention. It's these guys that they're arresting and deporting. Now, maybe the Trump administration wants them to be high profile, but it seems to me they should handle them like they would do the terrorists when they would arrest them during, in the post 9/11 era. They arrest them, and before anyone knows they've been picked up, they're already at some black site somewhere. When they handle them like a normal arrest, the people around them, they call lawyers, and they seem to have high-priced lawyers, ACLU types, on speed dial. Dr. Suri is an Indian national who was duly granted a visa to enter the United States to continue his research on peace building in Iraq and Afghanistan, said a Georgetown University spokesperson. Well, but in his spare time, he was working for Hamas. We're not aware of him engaging in any illegal activity, and we've not received a reason for his detention, Georgetown said. We expect the legal system to adjudicate the case fairly. We have never, even during the Reagan era, we have never had, in I don't know if any of our lifetimes, had leadership in the country that had the guts to do the things that are happening right now. This is why, a guy called and he says, oh, you're impartial. I'm very biased towards President Trump, okay? I'm always going to support President Trump and everything that he and his team are doing. And there's a lot of people that call themselves conservatives that are, losing patience. I was talking about this the other day with Bongino on the job. People are expecting some high-profile arrest. They have to do everything according to the letter of the law. You see, these people they're going after are so lawyered up, and they've got these federal judges. If they don't do everything by the exact letter of the law and cross every T and dot every I, it's not going to hold up. But they're sending a message. There was already one of these professors who self-deported that I know of, and there may be others. But I think they may want to do them high profile, because I think maybe the Trump administration wants people to see how our universities have been taken over by radical terrorist people. This is what was going on during the Vietnam War protest. Then it was the Soviet Union. And this takeover by the Islamics that we're seeing, Mahmoud, this Georgetown guy, this takeover by the Islamic is all after 9/11. And, after 9/11, there was so much of this never forget talk. Well, it seems like everyone's forgotten, right? This post-9/11 world, it's been so long, it's all been forgotten, and like everyone's doing do-overs now. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name?
Brett.
Yeah, Brett.
I'm calling from Royal Palm. I've been listening to you for about 30 years. I haven't heard anything about the amazing rescue from Elon Musk.
I don't know who that is.
Elon Musk?
Oh, Elon. Oh, Elon. Yes. Okay. What about Elon Musk?
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody talking about the totally amazing rescue.
Well, that was 2 days ago. I mean, I talked about it yesterday and the day before. It was amazing. The media don't want to cover it. You know, there's a story today. The lady astronaut has some severe damage from being in space so long to her body that she may never recover from because Biden left her up there to rot.
Yeah, they were stuck in a tiny little capsule for 9 months. It's amazing they can even walk, or that they have their wits about them is amazing.
It is. It is. Well, space travel's dangerous, and she's old too. I was surprised she flew on the space shuttle. I was surprised how old she is. She did not look well.
Yeah.
But the media, the reason you're not hearing about it in the media is because the media hate Trump, and Elon is an extension of Trump, and they don't want to give him credit for this amazing space rescue. That's it.
Right. Yeah, they don't want to validate the good that Elon and Trump are doing, like downsizing the federal government and going after the deep state. The two of them are like a giant enema up the butt.
Okay, all right, little graphic. Yeah, well, all right, I appreciate the call. A little graphic for this hour of the morning. It's time for our last break anyway. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Sometimes I'll keep a caller on just a beat too long. Hey there, hold on. Less than a minute, we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. It's time to check in, as we do every day at this time, with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals looking great, Brian. The metals continue to, gold at least, continues to make new record highs every day almost. Even when it tries to go down, it comes back with a vengeance. Yesterday we saw that as gold traded in a range of $3,024 all the way up to $3,053 the ounce, closing up on the day $12.90 at $3,047.30 the ounce. Silver lost 22 cents at $33.74 the ounce. Platinum was down $6 at $9.94, and palladium was down $8 at $9.42. So gold continues to be the money, the real money in the world, and continues to make new highs. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $3,023 to the $3,056 the ounce, and right now we're down $6.30 at $3,041, but again, we made lower numbers early this morning, and then the trend has been that it just continues to move higher during the day and then set new highs. So these little pullbacks you got to buy on if you get the opportunity. Silver down 39 cents right now at $33.35 the ounce. Platinum down $6 at $9.88. And palladium down $9 at $9.33. So again, gold $3,041 right now.
Wow. How long do we have to be over 3,000 for 3,000 to become the new baseline?
We're pretty much right there. This is about the third day or fourth day of over 3,000. So I'm going to say that 3,000 is going to be at least a temporary strong base for gold.
Wow, that's amazing. I still can't get used to that. When you call in with these numbers, it just blows my mind. Well, listen, guys, William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. His location is in Boca at 150 East Palmetto Park Road, which is immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road on the first floor of the Bank of America building. And when you enter the building, William Youngman's shop is right across the hall, across the lobby from the bank lobby. You can also call him and do your transactions over the phone no matter where you're located in America or the world at 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and find both his phone number and address on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. I want to tell you, this George Floyd pardon petition is gaining steam. Tens of thousands have signed it. This is a trap, okay? This is a big trap. The first person I heard talk about this was Ben Shapiro. This is a trap of the Never-Trumpers to try to get MAGA people involved in the pardoning of George Floyd. And this story is all over the news today. It is a trap to try to bring blacks back to the Democrat Party for the midterm. If Trump pardoned George Floyd, he would still be in prison on murder charges from the state. Okay? So I don't know who these people are that are signing the petition, but don't have anyone who's promoting a George Floyd pardon petition for Trump to, Derek Chauvin, to pardon Derek Chauvin. Okay? That is a never-Trumper. Okay, make no mistake about it. It is a never-Trumper. Derek Chauvin will be in prison forever with a pardon from President Trump because Chauvin is convicted of murder in the state court. So why would it, even if Trump wanted him out of jail, he can't get him out. So why would you pardon him? Why would you push pardoning Derek Chauvin in the George Floyd case? Why would you do it? And I wouldn't be surprised if Never-Trumpers are behind this with Democrats, that the Never-Trumpers and the Democrats are working together on this because they know one of the things that brought President Trump to victory was such a high percentage of the black vote. Black Lives Matter has completely evaporated. They really don't even exist anymore. And if they can get MAGA people talking about pardoning Derek Chauvin, that they think that'll push some blacks back to the Democrats for the midterms. Here it is. Tens of thousands signed petition for Derek Chauvin's pardon. It says here, to receive a pardon from President Trump, it's approximately 50,000 signatures. Now, I don't even know if these are real signatures. Ben Shapiro argues that Chauvin's conviction represents the defining achievement of the woke movement in American politics, citing the massive overt pressure on the jury to return a guilty verdict regardless of the evidence. Now, I'm not saying that Derek Chauvin should be in prison. I'm just saying that Trump can't get Derek Chauvin out in this Floyd case. And Ben Shapiro, I'm not exactly sure what Ben Shapiro's angle is here. He is a never-Trumper, so it could be to undermine President Trump. That wouldn't surprise me. But it's also just as likely that he's trying to go viral on something, and he picked a stupid thing to try to go viral on. But you got, a lot of times these never-Trumpers you got to be careful with the never-Trumpers. This is what I was talking about earlier in the show about Laura Ingraham last night, who was very disrespectful to President Trump in that interview. I played the clip a couple times in the first hour. I'm not going to play it again now. But you can go back and listen to that hour of the show and hear it, or you can see that clip on social media. A lot of the never-Trumpers that are pretending to be MAGA, they're working an angle now to get back in the good graces of the Republican establishment because they think the Republican establishment is going to be back in power when Trump's second term is over. So this thing about a Derek Chauvin pardon, this way that Laura Ingraham behaved with President Trump on that interview, that's going to become more and more common from people because a lot of these people, they tell themselves, well, I was in this before Trump, and I'm going to be here after, so I need to make some new alliances. And I'm here to tell you that the Republican establishment has no juice in the Republican Party, even after Trump's second term. That's why President Trump has been appointing so many younger people. And for the most part, I feel like Generation X has been skipped over. We have some, Sean Duffy and, Marco Rubio, but JD is a millennial, and he's doing that on purpose, President Trump, to leave a legacy behind so that these Republican establishment crooks can't get back in and take the party over again. So you have to be very, very careful. Now, I want to tell you guys about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Oh, man. And I know a lot of you have called them and have started the program and everything. It is wonderful. I lost more weight than I set out to lose in less time, almost a month sooner than I had planned. I wanted to lose 25 pounds before the cruise, which leaves a week from Sunday, and I beat that a couple weeks ago. So that's awesome. And, I just wanted to lose 25 pounds. But sometimes people want to lose less. Sometimes people want to lose more. They want to lose 50. They want to lose 100. They can help you with that too with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I'm eating foods that I like. I'm not eating any weird foods. I'm not taking any medications either, okay? And I'm certainly not doing any exercising. Oh, forget about that. Today, later this morning, I have a call with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. They have coaches over there that are in communication with you during the entire process to help you along, see how you're doing, and it's very helpful. Now, I'm going to give you their number. When you call, make sure you tell Coastal Weight Loss Secret you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. Here's the number: 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossSecret.com. Now, when you look at, the last caller about Elon Musk, this move that Elon made about donating the highest amount that the law allows to members of Congress that support the impeachment of these federal judges, that tells me that, because he's so close to Trump, that the impeachments of these judges are a real thing. This isn't just something that's being talked about. This is a real thing. Part of what President Trump is fighting against is this endless lawfare. And what these federal judges are doing is another version of the lawfare. And the impeachment of these judges, it very well may be the defining issue in the midterm elections. And I think people, this is going to be one of those times where you should not assume that the opposition is going to gain in the midterms. This impeaching these federal judges will work in our favor, especially when you see the connections that they have. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. JJ from Mass.
Oh, hey, JJ.
I was wondering if you saw the JFK release files. Did you see the letter to Senator Joe Biden from JFK Jr.?
Yes, I did see that, calling him a traitor.
Yeah, that to me was, I didn't expect something like that, and all the things that have come out. I've read a lot of.
I was thinking about this the other day when these files came out, and I saw that letter a couple days ago. I started to wonder. They talk about this Kennedy curse, and I always thought that JFK Jr. just had a plane he was not qualified for flying at night, but maybe they took him out too because they were afraid of this. He died. That was 97, so a lot of these people were alive and kicking in 97.
When you start to realize what our government has done, when you look at the USAID, when you look at all these, just all the money and circulating through all the pass-throughs and just everything that we're finding out, I believe it. 100%,
There's no doubt JFK Jr., if he had not died in 97, he would be in the Senate or the governor of New York or who knows. He would have been doing something.
There's so much information out there. Getting these files helps because I've read a lot of Roger Stone and I believe Corsi, Jerome Corsi, just solid people with boots on the ground in Washington. They hear all the whispers and so forth, and but getting all these files out, I'm just very
well. As I was talking about this a little while ago. The main thing we've gotten from the files is a confirmation that the conspiracy that our own government killed Kennedy was true. Okay? I mean, it's a confirmation of that. That's it. I mean, regardless of what comes out, and hopefully we'll get a lot more details, but now we know that that's not a conspiracy. A conspiracy can be true. That conspiracy is in fact true, that forces inside our own government killed President Kennedy. I mean, that we now know it.
It should help open the eyes of people who have been on the fence of they just can't believe that.
Well, listen, I'm almost out of time, so I got to run. But the reason that a lot of people, there's no bombshells in these files, it's because we've been talking about the CIA having done this our entire lives, and now we know it's true. All right, that's all the time we have for today. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. All right, and we are out. All right, if you are new, make sure that you subscribe, all right? My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll have a new podcast later today, and it'll be right here on my YouTube channel and on all the podcast platforms, so keep an eye out for that, all right? I'll see you. Take care.